Toulouse in 1562 was a deeply divided society. Divisions between the Catholic and Protestant faiths were causing rising tensions in the city, as the Catholic Church saw Protestants as a threat to their religious beliefs. Societal divisions also existed between classes. The wealthy elite in France came from noble families. Family lineage dictated everything from how one lived to how one could marry. These societal divides are challenged when Jean and Marie fall in love. Jean comes from a middle-class Protestant family, while Marie was born into a well-renowned noble family of the Catholic faith. According to societal norms, Jean and Marie should have never met, let alone fallen in love. However, against all odds, a flourishing and passionate forbidden romance is born. Forced to keep their relationship a secret, Marie and Jean must resort to secret rendezvous in order to satisfy their burning desires. But when religious riots begin to flood the streets of Toulouse, Jean is called to defend his religion, fighting against what Marie believes in. Our film follows the story of the two fated lovers, while also covering an important moment in French history. It will present a historically accurate representation of the architecture, landscapes, interiors, fashions, designs, and society of Toulouse in the mid-16th century. The film will follow the young lovers as they meet in hidden locations around Toulouse, giving the viewers a snapshot of the town's rich architectural history. Simultaneously, the film will follow the key events leading up to the religious riots, taking the viewers into some of the town's elaborate religious and public buildings. Set designs will carefully reconstruct the architecture of these buildings. By the mid-16th century, Toulouse had generated a variety of compelling architecture characteristics indicative of several periods, including the French Renaissance, Gothic, and Romanesque periods. Buildings in Toulouse at the time were primarily constructed using rosy-toned terracotta bricks, unique to the region. Combined with pink marble, these tones give Toulouse a special glow in the early morning and late afternoon, which earned it the title La Villa Rose, or the Pink City. This period gave rise to some stunning buildings in Toulouse, including the Place de Capitole in the heart of the city. This building was used for town meetings in the lead-up to the riots. The remarkable facade of the Capitole features 8 immense columns of pink marble. The oldest element of this building is the keep, the Donjon du Capitole, built in the 16th century. There are various other prominent architectural examples that can be seen in Toulouse, such as the Assazet Townhouse, the Jacobin Corvaux Sanctuary, and the Saint-Sernin Basilica. These structures are prime examples of different styles of architecture, as well as being key buildings in and around the time of the riots. As the pair continue their rendezvous around Toulouse, the film will show sweeping shots of the town's streetscapes. Against this, the film will contrast the extravagance of the ornate chateaux and French Renaissance gardens. In the place where Jean grew up, in the heart of Toulouse, narrow cobblestone lanes are eclipsed by tall Renaissance-style apartment facades. Although lacking in grandeur, these facades make reference to Renaissance design through symmetry, the use of semicircular arches, and decorative features. The facades of these apartments are vertically symmetrical, and the order of the windows and doors is repeated on each level. Doors and windows are often set within a semicircular arch, with decorative details such as square lintels or segmented pediments above each. By contrast, Marie lives with her family in their chateau out of town. Chateaux were a hallmark of Renaissance architecture. They were grandiose and highly embellished, a clear display of wealth. Here, Marie leads a lavish lifestyle, afforded only to noble families. She attends masquerade balls, visits other noble houses, and spends time in the garden reading and relaxing. Chateaux of the French Renaissance period were often accompanied by vast, ornate gardens, inspired by those in Italy, which were designed to emphasize the Renaissance ideals of order and proportion. The gardens were valuable spaces for the wealthy elite, used for relaxation, for music and dance, for poetry and learning, and for horticulture. These gardens were characterized by their carefully constructed, multi-sectional, geometrical designs. The sections were connected by networks of gravel paths, stairways, and ramps. Water features were common, including ornate water fountains and cascading water features. The film will also allow viewers a snapshot into the grandiose interiors unique to the buildings of the Renaissance era. The 16th century was a time of extraordinary innovation in interior design and decorations inspired by the art and stylish ideas of Italy. Interior decorations were highly concentrated on the ceiling, floors, and walls, while the rooms had few furnishings. The ceilings were generally embellished with carvings or colored strips and used elements of color, repetition, and form. Floors were often embellished with expensive and luxurious carpets or rugs, and walls were either painted or panelled, with or without carved decorations. France was drawn to the Italian technique of inlaying, and carpentry became more sophisticated with the introduction of veneering and marquetry. Francois I had a huge influence on the Renaissance design and art in France, as he invited great artists including Leonardo da Vinci and Andrea del Sarto to France to decorate the interior of the Fontainebleau Chateau. These artists created a breathtaking, distinctive style of French mannerism. It was sophisticated and sensual. A mural expressed nudes, garlands, and spiritual creatures, and was characterized by exaggerated line work, color, and elongated figures. The Fontainebleau's interior decoration was known nationwide, and many other artists began to copy its sculptures and paintwork. Its interior continued to influence French design until the 18th century. Costumes worn in the film will be representative of the luxurious fashions of the French Renaissance era. The 16th century in Europe was one of the most luxurious, extravagant, and elegant eras in fashion history. Fashion trends were heavily influenced by the monarchies, the greatest fashion influences of the era being Tudor monarchs Henry VIII and Elizabeth I. Men and women of the wealthy elite wore elaborate clothing lined in gold and silk, each item detailed to the last seam. The decadence of their clothing was representative of their wealth and power. Women wore gowns which included several layers of separate garments. These included a bodice, sleeves, skirts, and underskirts, complete with a ruff. All these items of clothing added to the luxuriousness and elegance that this era provoked. Elizabeth I also introduced many cosmetic styles, including paler makeup and a trimmed back hairline. The standard outfit for a male of wealth included 3 to 4 pieces: the hose or breeches, a short garment-like trouser, fitted jackets called doublets, and a ruff. The less wealthy wore clothes that were sturdy and practical. Instead of wearing doublets, they wore more of a loose tunic, which enabled them to work more easily. The film will cover an important moment in French history through the fictional tale of Jean and Marie, who lived at the time. Careful consideration to set and costume design, as well as prop and location, will ensure that this film is historically accurate in every aspect. Through its use of beautiful cinematography, the film will allow viewers an unparalleled insight into the architecture, landscapes, interiors, fashions, designs, and society of Toulouse in the mid-16th century.